Hey guys, welcome to the Once Upon a Time in Huntsville podcast, hosted by me, Sampley. In this episode, I talked to each of our guests individually instead of at the same time. First, I talked to the great Noah Winter about a film that's dear to our hearts, and then the second interview is with Manuel Tapia. Him and I talked a little NFL football, the pigskin, and then we talked about his acting career and some of his goals. If you're more interested in that, and skip ahead to that one, but I would say watch both of them. They're really quite good. But before you get onto the show, I just wanted to take note that one of the greatest, if not the best, stand-up comedy or just comedian of all time, Norm Macdonald, passed away. And he was just somebody that I never met him and I never worked with him. I always wanted to. But I've seen so much of his stuff over and over and over again. He just made me laugh each and every time. If you're not familiar with his comedy, then you need to go watch his Conan stuff on YouTube. Specifically the Courtney Thorne Smith one and the moth joke and the turtle joke. And his stand-up, of course, his podcast. He has an amazing book that he wrote, I think 2016. That's hilarious. He did a couple films here and there that were really funny. He was just always such a funny and creative guy. The way he tells jokes, no one else is like him. And just saying that's doing a disservice to him. That's how creative he was. But he died of cancer. He had it for 9 years and held it secret. And or so the Germans would have us believe. Just a little reference to his one of his ongoing weekend update jokes when he was back at SNL. And the person who gave him cancer, you guessed it, Frank Stallone. He was just such a funny guy. Seriously, if you haven't seen the stuff, go watch it. I'm praying for his friends and family, and I know he, grappled with Christianity. I really hope he believed in the end, and I'm saying that because I'm a Christian and I trust Christ. But please enjoy the show. Dude, how have you been? I haven't seen your face since
the premiere, I guess.
The
premiere of the poster right behind you.
Yeah. That's you right there in the glasses. You play Luke Wilson in the movie.
It's so crazy how well they CGI'd every part of me out of the performance.
Yeah, you play Luke Wilson as Rusty Russell. I think you're gonna win the Oscar this year, man.
Hey, if they can do CGI actors, I can get a CGI Oscar.
Did you? I assume maybe we talked about this before, actually, or maybe I talked to it about someone else. The CGI in The Irishman goes from like really, really like amazing to like on the other hand like really, really bad. Have you seen that movie?
I have. And there's people on YouTube that did the deep fakes of De Niro's younger self better than like a multi-million-dollar studio.
I read that he was hired, like that guy who did that and then like did another one. I think he was hired somewhere for like it might have been for like Disney. I think he was hired.
It blows my mind. As I'm sure you and I both do, we go on those late night YouTube rampages where we start with, a movie trailer and end up watching like, how I don't even know, like we end up watching like how movie cameras are cleaned with like sponges or something. It's just like, but I'm always blown away by like the quality of some of the channels out there that like do like fan made movie trailers or do like the deep fakes, or even like there's one guy who does like his wish list for like a certain cast for a certain movie, or even if it's a movie that's not being made but he wishes it was made, he'll like do the movie and then he'll do like what his dream cast for the film would be, and he gives his reasons behind every cast member, and it's like he ends up casting roles better than like roles are casted.
Do you know what the channel is off the top of your head? If you don't know it now, I can always link it
off the top of my head. But if you look up, like he did it, like he was like, if I was casting like the live action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, this is who I would cast in each of the roles.
Oh, and that's so cool.
I'm like a big fan, so I watched that, and it was like incredible choices. And So like,
can I guess what he picked off the top of my head? Okay, Aang.
I can't even remember some of the people he chose.
I'm just gonna guess anyways. Aang, I bet he said
Morgan
Steve
Freeman,
Buscemi. Oh, okay. I like how we both went the same way. That's awesome, dude. So one of the things I did want, or what,
Avatar: Last Airbender fan casting or something, it should come up.
I need to watch that show. That show's been on my watch list for such a long time.
Damn.
I know. I'm sorry. And my buddy Josh Peterson, who I have on the podcast, like every time, like I see him, he's like, "Have you seen it yet? Have you watched it yet?" And I'm just like, I have such like a long list. Like I don't like. I'm never gonna be able to watch like half of like television ever. There's too much. They need to stop making it for a while.
That's the tough thing is that it's just the speed and the frequency that it comes out. It's like unless you kind of just stumble into a TV show, there's no way unless it's just like you just can't even fight, the intuition to do it. Like there's no way that I'm going to get a recommendation and be like, okay, yes, I will go sit down and watch 4 seasons of a show just at the drop of a hat. It's just like the dedication of time.
No, you know what? It's hilarious too when someone's like, okay, you haven't seen the show. Okay, it's 8 seasons. You have to go watch it right now. The first 2 to 3 seasons aren't that good, but you need to watch them.
It's just perfect.
It's like I don't want to watch 3 like mediocre seasons to get some really good stuff. Like I don't know. Like there's some shows that come to mind.
It's 3 really bland seasons, just really build your awareness of the characters because they don't do anything. But then they do a lot in the 4th season, and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah. Or like there are some shows where like they were super popular, like so big. And then like when the finale came and it ended up being like a bomb, people were like, I can't believe they did this. Like I know like Game of Thrones, of course, was a really big one. Dexter, How I Met Your Mother, which I have seen a couple of episodes here and there of that, but I've never like sat down and watched it all the way through. So like, I'm like, I want to, and Dexter sounds like a really cool show. Are you familiar with it?
I caught like a couple episodes of it when I was younger because I had some friends that watched it, and like it looked really cool and just kind of like it just looked like a fun show to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think they're bringing
not
it back.
Fun as in like family friendly or anything like that, but like fun as in like it just like all the characters just seemed like they were really cool to watch. Like they were just really good performances.
Yeah, and I think they're bringing it back because like I think a lot of the people were like, yeah, we ended it in a really bad way, so they're bringing it back with Michael C. Hall. I think it was a Showtime show. It was either Showtime or HBO. So maybe if that ends up getting some good talk about it, I'll go back and check all that out. But there's just too much TV. Like I, for the first time, started watching The Sopranos. Like I've never seen any of it, and thankfully, it's like one of those things that has no, like none of it has ever been spoiled. It's just one of those things I've been able to avoid every single spoiler, like ever. And I'm enjoying it right now. I'm still in the first season. But all right, is there any TV shows you're watching right now?
Let's see here. There is. Well, I am watching one, but it would be kind of a detour from the current conversation.
No, go ahead.
I've been on like when I don't know about you, but like when I was little, and I've been finding as I get, somewhat older, that I encounter a lot of people who had the same thing happen. But like when I was younger, I was like obsessed with like Food Network, like obsessed
Food Network,
like Iron Chef America and stuff like that. And like recently, for whatever reason, I've kind of been getting back into like those types of shows. And Gordon Ramsay has a new show out on Disney Plus. And when I say his name, people crack up. But I think he's really trying to turn over a new leaf in his life. And I think he's really trying to rebrand himself. And the show's called Uncharted, and it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, I'm sure you have like a sort of just like comfort show that like whenever you like, you want to watch something, but you don't want to put a ton of like, mental effort into it. You just
The Office is that for me. I'm like, right.
This has become like your version of that. This has become my version of it. And
yeah.
Basically he like goes to, different countries. It's kind of like, it's a sort of kind of like classic travel cooking type of show. But what's cool is in each country he goes to, he visits like this sort of main chef of the moment in that country. And that chef is like, hello, Gordon Ramsay, like, welcome to my country. I'm going to go send you on a week-long tour to visit all the people who supply my restaurant with food and seafood and vegetables and you know, whatever it is. You're going to meet all those people, and then we're going to have a cook-off at the end of the week for all my local people and my family, and they're going to decide who cooks it better. And so it's like, it's a really cool idea.
That's really cool.
And so he was like in like Hawaii, and he meets with, you know, this really incredible Hawaiian chef who's like, you know, very up and coming right now. And this chef sends him to go with like his oyster divers and with the people that supply him with like his sweet potatoes, and with like he goes to visit the cows, and he goes to visit like the people that make, you know, like the special chicken that he serves at his restaurant. And then after he gathers all that knowledge, he and this chef have the cook-off for the locals.
That's so cool.
It's a really cool concept. And it's a great way of like seeing a different, you know, side of a country from like a travel show format.
So like when they do the contest, like whoever loses, I assume they're executed. So like Gordon Ramsay, he's still alive. So he must, wow.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of each show, he kind of returns to his true self and just starts degrading people and attacking people. No, I mean, it's funny because like I never watched, like I knew about him, but I never watched all the shows he was known for. He was just like the crazy, angry British man. And so I'm just now kind of being introduced to him through this show. I'm like, he's like a really nice guy. Like he's actually a pretty like personable guy.
I don't think I've ever like watched any of his shows on TV. I've watched like clips of them on YouTube. Like I think my favorite thing that he does is the I want to say it's like Hotel Nightmare or something. Yeah, or Hotel Hell or something. What was his
Nightmare or like kitchen? Some Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, but it was like he goes to hotels that like also serve food and stuff. Yeah. And that one is a lot of fun because you have like both elements of like, not only is the food disgusting, but the rooms like are disgusting too. And like the way he just like goes at people, it's great. And you know what the best thing about him is, like most of the episodes, there's like he's yelling at them and they're like carrying away. But I love it when like someone who is like 110% wrong, but they are going at it like full force. Like he matches Ramsay's energy. Those are always the best.
Yeah. No, I feel like he just travels the world in search of someone who can challenge him. Like he's like that.
For those who are listening, there's been a random jump. Noah was almost kidnapped.
We were briefly hacked. We were briefly hacked by Czechoslovakian terrorists.
Yes. I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is involved in some way. So
isn't he always?
Isn't he always? And Jesse Eisenberg is right there with him. We were talking about
binging TV shows, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about not Gordy. I can call him Gordy Ramsay. He's never going to listen to this. But whenever
just because he said that, it's probably going to happen one day.
Yeah. He's just going to like go looking through his Spotify recommendations and we're going to pop up. He's like, two people I have no idea like anything about. I'm going to listen to.
How refreshing.
Yeah. But that Uncharted show actually sounds really fun. So I'm going to have to check that out. Speaking of like things being shot in beautiful places, I wanted to talk to you most about a movie recommendation that you gave to me, I think last week or a week or 2 weeks ago. That dude just blew me.
Did it change your life? Did it change your life? Just tell me if it did or not.
It did. Like me and my wife sat down, we watched the first hour and then went to bed. Next day, we watched the rest of it and we were just blown away, man. Like, because like we wanted to finish it all the way through, but like we would have done it a disservice by being so tired. So like in a way, it was actually kind of nice. We broke it up because at an hour mark, the character Edmund. Have I even said the movie yet?
I think you said the title.
The Count of Monte Cristo. I'll link it in the description. That way people know. Dude, but the 2002 version, I believe, of the Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce is like absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Noah, for your recommendation.
It is an honor to share it with another soul because it has certainly changed mine.
Dude, it is so good. Like watching it, I was like somewhat mad that like no one talks about this movie at all. Like I've obviously heard of the book. Most
Yeah.
people have, but I did not. And I was maybe there's been another movie version made of it, back in like the 40s, 50s, or 60s. I don't know. I assume there is somewhere. Usually that's how it is with most great novels like that.
Yeah.
But dude, like no one talks about this movie, but it has great reviews both on the critic and like user sides. It did fairly well at the box office, and like it's just a really, really good film. Like no one talks about it. So like we are here today to plead with our country to watch this movie.
No, it puts a smile on my face to hear someone else verbalize thoughts that I've had to keep to myself for years because I have no one to discuss this film with. And no, I mean, I guess like the best way I can describe it, and you probably agree, like it's the first movie in a while where it was like I lost track that I was watching. I don't know. It's like, how do I explain this? I may not explain this right, but I'll try my best. A lot of movies I watch these days, like I'm aware I'm watching a movie while I'm receiving the story. Like the way this was made, though, obviously I'm aware I'm watching a film, but it just felt so like true to form in how I envision movies should be, or movies should kind of just feel, and just kind of their scale and just the characters and the adventure. And it's like just enough separated from reality to like just feel fascinating, but also like grounded enough to where you can actually believe that, maybe somebody actually experienced something like this back in that time. But I just like, I just felt refreshed after watching it, because I'm like, that's what a movie should feel like. It just has so much going for it.
I absolutely like agree. I think one of the things it does really well is it really takes its time with the main character Edmund, who's played by Jim Caviezel. Like it takes an entire hour to kind of like fully see who this guy is. Like it takes its time, but like it's all interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of does something, because most movies start out, oh, this character is like really struggling to maybe be a good person or like do this successfully. But this movie is the exact opposite. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil too much, but he's already like in a really great place in life and is a really, really like honorable guy. And then I'm sure people are maybe familiar with like most of the story. And then all of that's stripped away from him and he becomes like the opposite of that. Yeah. And then like, then you see like, is this guy going to like further ruin himself, or is he going to like be able to build himself up again? Yeah. And like, it's so like Jim Caviezel, that like casting choice like is brilliant because he can do so much with like his eyes, and like him just like whispering something is sometimes more powerful than a shout with him. Like, because one of my favorite performances of all time is him in The Thin Red Line.
Absolutely.
Specifically, like I think maybe like top 5 moments, like favorite moments for me in a movie is when him and Sean Penn are like, they're like about to go to sleep at night and they're kind of sitting in like this grassy field, and Sean Penn is essentially like being like, I don't believe in God because this and this and this. And Jim Caviezel doesn't even say anything. He just smiles at him, like looks up into the sky. And it's like, and then he looks back down at Sean Penn and like doesn't say anything. It's just like one of those moments like, wow, he packed so much.
Yeah.
Just like whatever, I don't know. But like, I just love his performance. And Guy Pearce is great too.
Oh my gosh. The both of them they fully just embodied both of the roles. And obviously, it takes place in France and none of them have French accents.
Yeah.
But they're all so like, and once again, like when you watch this film, you can just tell that they, as a cast, they've just agreed to really just commit to this film. Like, there's no like, oh, look, I'm an actor doing, Count of Monte Cristo, which is like, it's not like a new story. It's a very, very well-known story. And I feel like sometimes the actors can maybe be a bit self-conscious when they try and adapt really famous stories like that.
Mm-hmm.
But watching this, like, you would think that this was just like, a new script that somebody put together. Like they're totally committing to the realism of being part of the story. And it's just so cool to watch. And like you said, like Jim Caviezel, it's not like, Shakespearean and like speeches and dramatic, like it's very like understated and realistic performances. Like it takes place in what, like I think the like late 1700s.
Yeah.
But I could totally believe that all these people were the way that they were. Like there wasn't any like theatrical, musings and speeches and like monologues. Like it was very realistic, grounded dialogue. And it made it feel so cool to have such a famous and really just big story feel really realistic at the same time.
Yeah. And so I mean, a lot of times people tell me, oh, you need to go watch this movie. You need to go watch this movie. And sometimes it's not that I don't want to watch them, but like, I'm just like, I have better things to watch right now. I'm not going to throw that up on the list. But like the way Noah described it to me over the phone, because we were talking on the phone, I think I just asked what you've been watching recently. And like, you essentially told me you have to watch The Count of Monte Cristo because one, they don't make movies like this anymore. And then I think the example you said was like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like it's kind of this like action adventure film, but down to its core, it's all about like just a simple theme of like what friendship is, or like what revenge can do to your heart. And then like they take those like simple themes and then they build around it with, great writing and great characters and great casting.
Yeah.
And like, it's just so much fun. Like I like, this is a movie I want to show to people and be like, you have to watch this.
Yeah. And you're exactly right there. Just like the writing and the message. And I just like, because I feel like in modern times, when a movie comes out, you can tell if it's on kind of like a festival, potentially award-winning track, or if it's just a really good, entertaining, just sit down and have a great time and just watch a great movie. And when I kind of describe it as they don't make it like this anymore, like they used to have these movies like whether, we brought up Pirates of the Caribbean because it's a sort of modern example, but whether it's like, Lawrence of Arabia or like, there's like some of these, like these movies used to come out where they felt that they could do big scale, but also have really incredible performances. It didn't feel like they had to trade one or the other. Because nowadays it kind of feels like if your movie's going to be on a festival or award-winning track, it's got to be like this kind of very nuanced, very intimate storyline. And if it's not that, then it's like Avengers. And it's just so big that your mind can't even fathom how large it is. And like Count of Monte Cristo, like I'm like, I could see this winning an award for something, but I could also see myself just sitting down to watch this and having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
I love that about it. And so I'm glad that you got to kind of see that after we had the discussion about it before we watched it.
I think again, one of my favorite things, like I've already said about the movie, is like it takes its time with its characters. I think like this movie could even be like an hour longer, and I would still really love it. Yeah. Like I think one of the things that would be really cool is if it delved more into, like, I don't know if there is like another cut out there, but I think it would be really cool to like show like those two guys growing up together, like maybe in like a quick montage. So that like, and it still works the way they did it in the movie, but like it leaves you wanting more in a really good way. Definitely. And it was really cool to see Luis Guzman in the film too. Yeah, I always liked him.
He's fantastic. I love his character.
He did you ever watch the show Community?
I did. Yeah, I did.
One of my favorite episodes is when Abed is shooting the documentary of Dean Pelton trying to come up with a school commercial. And since Luis Guzman went to that school, he like calls the dean. He's like, hey, can I like be in the commercial? And he's like, oh, Luis Guzman, I love you from, and he doesn't know anything. So like he's snapping. Do you remember he's snapping to Annie? And then she brings him the phone to look at like a film. And he goes, I loved you in IMDb.
Yeah.
Just like, that's one of my favorite moments. He's really funny in that episode too. But I think one of the sorry, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say you're absolutely right, because when he popped up on screen, and like that's the other thing, it's like in a movie that serious, and this is just, I feel like you often see him in sort of like comedic roles or sort of, much more lighthearted circumstances. But that just like amazed me even more that a film is, taking itself as seriously as Count of Monte Cristo does, felt, the confidence to put an actor like him in a role like that. And, there's like this one moment between him and Jim Caviezel where he's, and I don't think this is spoiling anything, but he's basically trying to advocate for kind of a part of the Count's character that he's losing sight of, where he's trying he's trying to basically save him from himself in a way. And in that scene, I was like, that's a fantastic performance, like from him and from the both of them. And I don't know, there's just so many, for a story as old as it is, the movie felt totally like new when I first watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's one, when you described it to me, I knew I had to buy on DVD, which I did. Like, because that's going to be one I rewatch, and like I like let people borrow just to say you have to like watch this. Have you watched anything else recently that you wanted to talk about?
I'm trying to think. I did have to say that in this kind of goes along the same track, but I'm sure you do as well. Like, you just go into the deep dive of research after you watch the film.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you did any research on like this, on the book Count of Monte Cristo, or like this sort of what the reception was when it was first released, like when the book was actually first released. And it's funny that we started talking about kind of binge watching TV shows, because when I was reading about the release of the original book Count of Monte Cristo, the way that the person writing the article described it, they said it was literally the birth of binge watching TV culture before TV existed. And they said that when the book came out, it was released in chapters in newspapers. So it wasn't released as a whole. It was released in installments. So people would have to buy the newspaper every other day or every other week to get the next chapter of the book. And it wasn't some like, like it became famous after his death, or they really realized its value over time. This thing came out in the newspaper and was literally like, it was like the biggest thing in the world. It was literally like an Avengers movie back in like, that's
a great way to describe
it. Like 2 centuries ago. This was literally, it had the same reception as like modern Avengers movies has. People were like lining up outside of newspaper shops to buy the next edition so that they could see the next chapter of Count of Monte Cristo.
That's so funny.
And I thought that was and so that's why I loved it when you said that you and your wife watched it in like 2 different nights. You were kind of like unknowingly paying tribute to how it originally came out. But I found that fascinating that was like basically a sort of pre-modern version of like what we're talking about right now of binge watching things.
That's so funny that you say that, because right now I'm reading, I just finished Tarzan of the Apes, and right now I'm reading The Return of Tarzan. And I was like looking in the back of the book, like looking at all, like it had like a list of all when the original books were published. Yeah. And I didn't know this, but like the first couple Tarzans were released the same way. And I didn't know that's how like they were. I just thought they were released as a book. And it wasn't until like a couple years later. Yeah, it wasn't until a couple of years later where it was released in book form. Like, that is like so interesting. Like, so that's so funny that we're talking about that right now. Like, I just learned that fact about like books, but that's so cool that happened with that. Cause I'm sure that came out maybe before Tarzan. I'm trying to think when Edgar Rice Burroughs like lived. They might've been, well,
I guess that would have been, I'm trying to think too now.
I have a phone. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, because that's a really good question. While you're looking that up, I was just gonna say to the viewers that like one of my initial hesitations when I first came across the film was that sort of unfortunate thing that a lot of, and it's kind of inevitable, it's just like the sort of stigma you get over like old stories, like whether it's Count of Monte Cristo or like Shakespeare stories or like Edgar Allan Poe or like just any of those kind of like scholarly studied stories that you might read like in middle school or high school. Like, it's always makes me resistant to like watch movie versions of it, just because you just kind of build up a sort of like an unfortunate kind of resentment for it when you're younger, because you're like assigned to you're assigned it as reading.
Yes.
But like
Yeah.
with Count of Monte Cristo, it was the first time I ever, and maybe you had the same experience if you ever read it when you were like in school or anything.
I have not. I plan on reading it though.
It's a very long book, and it's kind of different than the film, but it is even cool. Like the story in the book is even cooler than the film. And when I say that, it was the first book I ever remember reading where when I was reading it, I was like, this is what people must have felt like before TVs came out, because it's literally written like a comic book. He's like a superhero when he starts like, getting he starts figuring out how to get his revenge on people that have wronged him. And I just remember reading this in school. I'm like, this is assigned reading. Like, this is so cool. And I just find it fascinating that people, when it first came out, had that same feeling. And clearly there's just something about the story that no matter what generation it comes out in, it just has this sort of essence to it that just makes it just endlessly rewatchable and endlessly, remakeable, no matter how many times they do it. And I just find it fascinating that a story that old has kept up its relevance and its sort of, for lack of a better word, it's like cool factor over like centuries.
I'm reading it right now. So the original like serialized version of The Count of Monte Cristo came out in 1844?
Wow.
1844 to 1846 is when like it was released. That's 2 years of reading like one book in a newspaper. That's hilarious. And then Tarzan of the Apes came out in 1912. But I'm also looking on Wikipedia. There have been, I'm just going to count how many films have been made real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 as of right now. And then it says to be announced, David S. Goyer will direct a film adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo. And then there's also several television shows, and then even things that are loosely based on it. So I'm excited for that new film then.
There's a proof of what we're talking about right now. There's just something about it that makes it cool in any generation. And I don't know I don't know what other word to use, but like I watched it and I'm like, you would think it would be some kind of like very, scholarly remaking of like a very, old book, but you watch this film and you're like, this is a badass movie. This is a cool movie.
It's just like so much fun. Yeah. And like, I love period films too. It's never snobby. It's just really well directed. It's really well directed, and the director of the photography did an amazing job. It's a really good looking film. People that are listening to this podcast, go watch this film. I think you can stream it on Amazon Prime for like $4 or $5. But I would say this is like a must own, because this is like a one you want to rewatch.
And right after you told me that you had watched it, I randomly turned on like Apple TV, and it's on the top movies chart right now.
Oh, so you were being serious about that?
Yeah.
I thought you were joking for some reason.
No. I turned on Apple TV, and Count of Monte Cristo, for whatever reason, explain that to me, that a movie from 2002 is on the top movies chart on Apple TV right now. I think it's because like there might be like a sale on it, and it's like you can buy it for like a lower price right now. Yeah. I don't know, but like the fact that happened, and it's next to like the new Fast and Furious movie and the Spider-Man movies, and then you have Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
But I love that clearly that the author I'm not gonna pronounce his name right because it's very French. It's like Alexandre Dumas.
Yeah.
And the fact that like he just tapped into something when he wrote that story that somehow makes it feel new and fresh for every generation, I just think is so cool for anybody that's interested in movies or storytelling or just history in general, that for some reason this story seems to constantly be seen as a desirable thing to read and to experience by like every generation. Like when I was reading about that when it first came out, they said that the book has never been out of print since it first came out.
Oh, wow.
And that means the demand for it has never been low enough for any publisher to ever stop printing it to sell.
Wow.
So I don't know, I'm not going to do the math right now, but 1844 to 2020, Count of Monte Cristo has been printed and sold every year since it came out.
That's crazy. Do you think Alexander Dumas is still alive? Because I'd love to meet the guy.
Something tells me he might have some difficulty doing that.
Maybe they froze him like Walt Disney.
You know what? I mean, if he had that many good stories in his mind, I'd freeze the guy.
Dude, this really makes me like, I don't think I've ever read any of his books. I think I read like the Three Musketeers in like the like fourth or fifth grade, but like you know how they have like when you're kids, they have like easier books to read, like classics. I think I read that version.
Yeah, they got like the streamlined version.
Yeah. I read a lot of books like that, like in the third and fourth grade, which I like. So whenever somebody's like, "Have you read, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?" I'm just like, "Yeah."
I read the picture book version.
I'm like, or what is it? 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've read it. It's the one with the octopus on the cover, and there's pictures throughout. And they're just like, what? But
when you oh wait, I was gonna say, when you were watching it, did you have that same experience? I was just curious if like you had a similar experience of like feeling like it, not that it was something new, but that it was a type of movie that you haven't seen in a while. Did you feel that same experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I just felt like I hadn't watched like just a really fun but well-written film in such a while. Because I think a lot of movies tend to take themselves maybe a little too seriously, and that's not all movies. I'm not. Of course, there's some out there that people are thinking of that are like, "Hey, what about this? What about this?" But it's just really cool to watch like a movie where they go from beautiful location to beautiful location, and all the set designing is really cool. It's a large scale, like you're saying, like Lawrence of Arabia, Lord of the Rings, or Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I just miss movies that like back in the day. I feel like in the early 2000s, like I feel like a movie or two came out like that, like almost every year.
Yeah.
And now I don't know. Film like the film, how movies are these days is kind of interesting to me, because back then, like, you would go see, like, I remember as a kid being like, oh, I can't wait to see the next like Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
Or I can't wait to go see the next, Nick Cage movie.
Yeah.
But nowadays I feel like it's more, which is a good thing, more directed, more director oriented, which is like still really cool. Like, I'm just like, I can't wait to go to see the new Villeneuve movie. I can't wait to go see the new Christopher Nolan movie or the Bong Joon-ho movie, or whatever it might be. But because like, I don't know if you've noticed this, a lot of the big movies now have like everybody in it, which is not a problem, but it's just very interesting how things used to be.
Definitely.
And I feel like a lot of newcomers aren't given a big chance a lot of the times like they used to be, if that makes sense.
Well, would you say that like at the same time, like the amount of access to just, like having access, more widespread access to like filmmaking technology and, online ways to, share films, do you think in a way people that once would not have gotten the same exposure have been getting more exposure?
No, yeah, I agree with you on that point. But I mean like specifically like really big budgeted, huge like movies. I feel like a lot of more, there's so many indie movies now, which is like a really great thing, and you can see them on like big platforms like a Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, or maybe like our movie like is and it was an independent film, but thankfully we have two, we have Luke and Martin who are at the forefront of the film, so people see it and they go, oh, like look at that. And it's cool that we got like a bunch, like me, I was in, most of us were unknowns besides like maybe Jake and Jacob.
Yeah.
So it was, but like if our film had been like $100 million budget, I don't know if we would have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like what I guess, and maybe you'll agree with this, I feel like, and I'll just use kind of like late 90s into early 2000s as an example. The kind of trend line has seemed to be, you went from, early 2000s, you had multiple large films and the occasional indie film that broke through.
Yes, exactly.
And now it's multiple fantastic indie films.
Yes.
You know, like there's so many small, you know, small, crude, really just streamlined films that have come out that are just incredible films. And now it's like, it used to be multiple big films, a couple breakthrough small films. Now it seems like it's multiple small to medium films. And you're sort of, you know, every once in a while you have your Avengers, you have your, you know, Fast and Furious, you have your Spider-Mans, you have your, that's another like Avengers thing, but like you have the kind of like specific ones sprinkled throughout. And so I feel like it'd be cool if, you know, as the next, you know, phase comes into being, you get a kind of generation of movies, almost like a Count of Monte Cristo, where it's still, you know, maybe that kind of sort of indie sort of art house sort of really kind of like, you know, visceral vibe, but still has that cool sort of blockbuster scale to it.
Yeah, I think we just have to go make the movie now.
You know what? I like the way you think.
Let's do it.
Anyone listening, please join us. We're building a team.
Give us money.
Well, your talents, that too.
That and money.
Maybe
not be paid.
Maybe your talent is money.
Hey, some people that like it is. If you have butlers, then you have no excuse not to give us money for our movie. Because that's like an overabundance of wealth.
I do have a question for you about the movie.
No.
Did you? And you know, if we spoil something, then we spoil something. But
yeah,
you can
this movie's 20 years old, so I feel like we.
If you don't know the story, a lot of people out there do, and it doesn't lessen the coolness factor of the film.
Yeah.
Did you find all the ways he kind of went about getting his revenge pretty believable? Because the ways that he goes about it in the book take like years to pull off. Like it's like a very, very detailed, drawn out thing. But obviously you have to kind of move along in a 1-2 hour movie. But I'm just curious, without any knowledge of the book, did you feel sort of satisfied by the way he was able to get the sort of upper hand on people that had wronged him?
So like I was saying before, like this movie leaves me wanting more in a good way. Like I feel like that's also one of the areas in the final cut, it works really well. But at the same time, like I wouldn't have minded if it was like near the end, like an extra 30 minutes to show like certain, you know, time has passed and he's trying to do this and this. But like Aaron can testify to this. When he gets revenge on a certain somebody, I don't want to spoil it, but and he leaves him a gun and to kill himself with because he's going to go to jail for a very long time. And the gun, he tries to kill himself and the gun is empty. I thought that was like amazing. Is that how it happens in the book?
I can't remember the specific, and I only say that just because I remember vaguely in the book that it was much more drawn out. I don't remember the specific things that were or were not in there, but it's fascinating you said that because everyone I've shown this movie to, like they're already enjoying themselves, they're already loving the movie, but for some reason, and like that's it, like that's a moment that you feel like you would only see in some like, you know, crazy like comic book movie, just like something so just like cinematically perfect. And to see that in a movie like this and actually have it feel like believable makes it so cool.
Dude, it was
like,
so satisfying. I get up and I was like, yes, that's the best move he could have made. Because like not only does it click and nothing happens, but then he like comes up to the carriage and he's like, did you think it was gonna be that easy? And then the carriage just disappears into the night. It's awesome. And then the revenge he gets on like the main guy, I think is like amazing. Cause I was like, I honestly thought, spoiler alert, I thought Edmund was going to die in the sword battle. I thought they both were going to die.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased when like he bested him and like was able to live like a nice life after. But I just and Henry Cavill is like
little baby Henry Cavill, baby Superman.
He's great. I didn't know he like I didn't know he started acting so early. I know he was like an extra in Gladiator, but I didn't know he got like a big role like that so early on in his career. Like he did a great job.
And also, I love that you mentioned Gladiator because I feel like that's another movie to add to the list of like really incredible scale, but also really incredible, well-written performances. Like those are the movies that I feel like we're talking about. It's like Count of Monte Cristo and Gladiator and just these, like, I want movies like that again.
I want them.
And I love what we're getting now. I just think that'd be such a cool addition to just movie culture, is to have a return to that scale and that epicness factor.
Yes. I feel like, and like, not that there haven't been movies that have been made with like huge scale. Like one that comes to mind is like Blade Runner, or like really any of Christopher Nolan's films. Dune looks like it's like going to be a lot of fun. But I think like, even though it's really cool to see so many like big actors in Dune, I also think at the same time it would be really cool to see like, and I'm sure there are some newcomers and some smaller roles maybe, but I thought it would be like, I think it would be really cool to kind of, if we went back to like, here's a bunch of great actors around this like new person. Like you don't see a lot of like big budgeted movies like that. And I could be wrong. Maybe some people are being like, this movie, and yelling it as they listen to it.
Yeah.
But, or maybe people have stopped listening because we're talking about a 20-year-old film that stars two actors that do a lot of just kind of so-so work nowadays. Not them as actors, but not as big movies, if that makes any sense. Because Guy Pearce and Jim Caviezel are still amazing actors, but I feel like I haven't seen them in anything that's like been as big as that in a while.
Well, it feels like when they do try and go, quote unquote big today, they're usually branching off of an already established something.
Yeah.
Like, like Dune has had a previous film adaptation. Obviously, it has the book series, the new Blade Runner movies. The first one was freaking incredible, but that once again, that was in a different era of filmmaking. Like, my Lord, like the 90s, like the mid to late 90s, the amount of original and just masterpiece work that came out during that time, just it explodes my mind. And not to say that, we don't have masterpieces coming out today, because I definitely think some films have come out that are just stunning. But I guess it's like once again, like Blade Runner had that like, it wasn't afraid to go that big. It went full scale.
And then like it kind of bombed at the box office, which is like a bummer.
Like over time, it's like, the best sci-fi movie, that everyone that's seen it has fallen in love with it. I don't know. It's not like a black or white or, like yes or no thing. I think it just comes down to you and I just have clearly had a moment with this film, and I just want more movies like it now.
And we gotta make them. Like I said, like we just.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Awesome.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
No.
What?
I can. I just gotta bring. Why is this? Let's just move out of the way. All right, now I can see. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, dude? Are you wearing a Lakers shirt?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a Lakers fan.
Yes, sir. Let me see. I'm trying to figure this out. There's a little thing. Oh, okay. Sweet. Turn this up. Now I can hear you better. I have the same poster. It's on the other side of my wall.
The Tarzan one?
Yeah. That one's is that the original? Because it says in cinemas 1999.
Yeah, I don't know where Erin found it. I think somewhere online. But she found like one of the original ones they had for like marketing. Probably eBay or something.
Right. I see your Oscar back there.
Yeah, my Oscar, my Dundee.
Oh, Mighty Orphans.
This is a Dundee. All right, do you watch The Office? Do you like The Office?
I've watched it, but to be honest, I've watched it so long ago. I mean, it's funny, but I'm not like the big I love Office, blah blah blah. It was like a TV show.
You want some of my sparkling water before we start?
Just a little bit. Sure, but you're gonna have technical difficulties on your computer.
Just
pour it. How you been, man?
Not good, man. Can I borrow some cash?
Yeah.
I need you to Western Union.
I don't got that much. I don't got that much anymore, but I mean, I can cash out
anymore.
Yeah.
No, man, I've been doing pretty well this week. Trying to think, what is today? Today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So halfway through the week, I'm chugging along. What about you, man?
Good, man. I finally got my first, I want to say now 4 auditions in a month. Last time I got an audition was a month ago.
Nice.
So I got 4 back to back to back to back.
To back to back to back to back. And one of them was for my short film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's just me and you.
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't got the role yet.
Yeah. You're auditioning for the role of Woodrow Luttrell, which he's pretty ticked.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even give him an audition.
If there's anybody who can play him, it's me, you know what I'm saying?
Thanks for doing this, man, on kind of, I guess, short notice. But,
of course, man. I ain't doing nothing. Anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say, you ain't got nothing going on.
I'm kidding, bro. I'm always glad to talk to you. We talk all the time, but I haven't seen your face in forever.
Yeah, I guess the last time you saw my face was at the wedding.
Yeah,
which by the way, people listening, Manny was not invited to. He just kind of showed.
Yeah, I even left my mom on her birthday to go to some random guy's wedding.
That's true, you did, and I appreciate that. I mean, like, she probably didn't want you there, but
I mean, she'll have many more to come. It's all good.
Yeah,
how many Sampley's weddings are there going to be?
Exactly. Hopefully not more than one. Dude, one of the first things I want to talk to you about is NFL Week 1 just finished off Monday. Your Hawks beat the Colts, right?
Yes, sir. I want to say 28-16.
Yeah, they put the hurt on them. And people probably know I'm a Cowboys fan. That's why during this season, during the fall season, throughout the winter, it seems I'm a little bit pressed, and that's because not only that, I'm also a Miami Hurricanes fan, but I don't want to get into college football. I want to talk NFL football because that is what Manuel Tapia is all about. So talk me through, what were some of the games you watched? Do you bet on any of the games or anything? Are you that into it, or are you just like,
Usually I do bet. Last year I was betting a lot of money. I won a lot. I didn't lose that much. I probably lost, I'm not gonna say how much, but I lost 4 bets.
Okay.
I feel like so I won most of the time. It was pretty good. I know my football. But Week 1, bro, who did I watch? Obviously I watched the Seahawks and Colts. I watched games that I can remember right now. I watched the Cowboys and Bucks because it was the first game of NFL. Yeah, that was a good game. That was a gun down.
You know what? Talking to my younger brother, who's also a Cowboys fan, before the game, I thought we were going to get thrashed. So to watch them be at least really competitive, like back and forth, I was like, you know what? Even if we lose this game, I'm somewhat happy.
Yeah. And like, as much as I hate the Cowboys, bro, I got so much respect for Dak. So, like, I love Dak.
Yeah, and as much as I hate the Cowboys, I have a lot of respect for him too, and our defense. Our defense had some really great turnovers.
I love it up, bro. Yeah, even my team, the Hawks, bro. Especially our defensive line has been killing it for the first game because we haven't been the Legion of Boom in the last 8-9 years. And
has it really been that long since?
I think, well, technically it was like 2016, but like, they were in their prime, like 2012, 2013.
Because they won 2012. No, 2012.
And then they went back to 2013. I think it was year 2013 technically, and then 2014 they lost to the Patriots because they went back to back.
That's right, yeah. And they lost to the Patriots on that infamous goal line throw.
Yeah.
Which we don't even have to talk about that. That's been discussed so much. But do you feel like it's going to be a pretty good year for you Seahawks?
Yeah. Man, Russell Wilson, bro, he's year 10. He's ready. We got DK Metcalf coming in hot. Tyler Lockett. I feel like Tyler Lockett's going to have like a breakout year. And we got a whole new offensive coordination and all that stuff. So we're good.
And as much as I like Russell Wilson, I don't like seeing you happy. So I hope they don't even make playoffs this year.
Man, the NFC West is tough, man. Look at the Cardinals. Destroyed.
Yeah, they whooped the Titans, yeah.
The Rams, they're the Bears, but the Rams with Matthew Stafford, like, that was a great game. I also watched that game. And then who else is in our division? 49ers, but they almost lost to the Lions. So
Yeah, they were whooping on them, and then the Lions started. They put on the gas there at the end. I would love if the Rams went back to the Super Bowl this year, just because like Matthew Stafford's been like one of the most underrated players.
No,
what?
Not
You
this
disagree?
year. Next year they can, but not this year. This year's for the Hawks.
Oh, for that.
I'll give you next year, but not this year.
I think, or do you have a Super Bowl prediction? Do one with the Hawks and then do one without.
All right, so I got Seahawks, and in the AFC, I'm probably going to say the way the Steelers played, either Steelers or Bills. I feel like one of those two are on the AFC side at least. And without the Seahawks, I say on the NFC. Early on, I did say Packers, but the way Aaron Rodgers played, no, I don't think so anymore.
Okay, people are all saying that, but that happens every single year. They go, like 2-6, and then then they put it on, and then they're in the NFC Championship. So I'm not buying the Packers being a bad team yet, just after week 1. Sorry.
But I said I'm just mad because I had Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy lineup, and he gave me nothing. So I'm really disappointed in that. But I don't know, man. I never even thought of anybody, no other team in the NFC to make the Super Bowl besides my team.
That's fair. I would say the teams that
Bucks will go back to back.
What?
You think the Bucks will go back to back?
No. I think this is my want. This is my want Super Bowl, and then I'll say the one that probably will happen. My want is the Cowboys will play Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship and beat them, and then go to the Super Bowl against I think a Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Just because we weren't around to see those.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and for us to beat them one more time would just that would kill the Bills fan base. But the teams I think that will actually play in the Super Bowl, I would probably say Tampa Bay, and then it's hard not to pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because that would be really cool to see a rematch.
Did you watch the Browns and Chiefs game? That was a good game.
Oh, dude, you know what? I think the Browns are a really good team. Even though they choked on that game, I feel like they could make it pretty far into the playoffs this time around.
Yeah, now they have everybody back. Myles Garrett, Odell. I think did he get hurt? No, I don't think he did.
He got hurt last year, I think, didn't he?
I think he got hurt this game, or maybe something. I don't know.
Man. Yeah, there's been a lot of already pretty bad injuries throughout the NFL, just week 1. And the fact that they added a game to this year's schedule, kind of, I don't know. How do you feel about that? That kind of caught me off guard. I was surprised.
Yeah, I think we're going to play this for the Seahawks. Our 17th game is the Steelers. So I'm kind of excited about that, low-key.
That's going to be a good game. I would love right now. I rarely, if I do talk sports on my podcast, it's very much really brief and stuff. So I'd love to have Stephen A. Smith come into a third screen and just watch you two go at each other about the Seahawks.
You don't know nothing.
Dude, for the longest time, I convinced myself that him and Skip Bayless, back when they did First Take Together, I convinced myself oh no, they're not like that in real life. That's they're playing characters.
Yeah.
And then, I think those people are really like that, unfortunately. Yeah. Especially Skip Bayless.
That's LeBron's #1 fan.
Oh, no, or Skip Bayless?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't understand. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, so I really don't care about it. But, Skip Bayless, he hates LeBron.
Yeah.
What goals have you set for yourself? Or what do you envision doing? Do you want to... do you really want to do do you want to be a lead actor? Do you want to do strong character work? Do you want to get a TV series? Where do you kind of see yourself?
I want to be a lead actor, man. I want to be, the first actual Hispanic actor that people know. Because in my community, we don't know, besides in the Spanish scene, in Mexico and novelas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Other people, but Mexican American is there's not many much. You have Michael Pena. You have Mario Lopez, who's just mainly a host. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to have a big print. When people hear my name, I want them to be oh my God, They don't got to be all Viva Mexico and all that stuff. But, You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, absolutely. I kind of feel the same way. I just feel like white people aren't represented enough on TV and movies.
I don't think you can say
No,
that.
no, okay, like
you can say that.
I can say that in the name of comedy. No, but seriously, this is totally different. Yours is way more important. But like, it would be really cool to see a lot more. Okay, let me start with this. Why are redheads being taken out of Hollywood? Hold on, before you start laughing, think about it.
What do you mean? You have you and we have Jake. That's
okay, wait, hold on. Don't ruin my argument until I get it out. Okay, Mary Jane Watson, classically a redhead.
Mm-hmm.
Who plays her now? Zendaya, which, by the way, she does a great job. Okay, when they did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, April O'Neil, redhead. They did her. They cast Megan Fox.
I ain't complaining about that part.
I haven't seen those movies. I'm sure they're fine. I had a third point, but I don't have one anymore because I forgot it. So it's really not that important. Now I feel like there's enough redheads. We got Amy Adams, Jessica Chastain, Jake, Austin Walker.
Is Scarlett Johansson a redhead? Or that's just because of...
I don't know if she originally is. Yeah. Lucas Hedges, he was like on a roll for a while, and I haven't seen him in a while. Fun fact, someone thought I was him in an audition room once. Say that again?
Someone thought I was Brad Pitt.
I could see that. That's awesome, dude. Are there any like superhero roles that like you would love to get your hands on?
I mean, the only one I could think of like for me would be Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle, yeah. That's like it's kind of, what's really cool about, I was about to say that's a deep cut, but now a lot of the deep cut superheroes back in the day, like really aren't deep cut anymore. Like you have like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which kind of broke through. Now you have the Suicide Squad, which is like, forefront of
then
DC.
You got like the TV series. I mean, you got Flash, Green Arrow, which are the main ones, but then they have like new series like Jake's show, Stargirl.
Yeah,
they have the kids of the Justice League of Society, which is like a whole different branch of heroes. But I mean, they're still part of the DC universe. So yeah, I mean, I think I didn't audition for it, but there was auditions for Blue Beetle because they're gonna shoot a Blue Beetle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard. I don't know if it's still in the works. I mean, I think it was just a rumor, maybe. But yeah, so I looked into that. Not look into it, but I looked at it.
Are there any because that's DC. Are there any like Marvel ones you would want to portray?
Yeah, Supernova. Just have you ever seen the?
That sounds so familiar. Sorry. Say that again.
Ultimate Spider-Man, like on Disney XD or anything?
No. I know what you're talking about. Because Drake Bell voices that Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. Supernova was in that.
Probably not anymore though. Sorry. Continue.
I know he actually went to Mexico. He's trying to be.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he still got caught. Yeah. So Josh was like, "I ain't calling you a truther." That's why he wasn't.
You think he said that after he was like found guilty?
He gets locked up. Megan. Dude.
That's terrible. That's a man's life.
I don't feel bad for it. I don't feel bad.
No. I mean, I do at one, like my Christian side does, but then at the same time, like when you do stuff like that, there's consequences.
Yeah. So enough about that talk because you went
back
to that part. What about you, man? You're always the question asker, but now I'm gonna
for like superheroes I would want to do.
Yeah.
Dude, so growing up at a young age, like probably the first comic book movies I saw and really adored were the Raimi Spider-Mans, like with Tobey Maguire. Those. Yeah. So for the longest time I always wanted to be Spider-Man. I thought that would be so cool. And because while watching, and maybe your actor brain does this too, when you're watching those movies, other kids think, I want to be Spider-Man. And my brain was like, I want to be playing Spider-Man. Like, I wish I was Tobey Maguire right now. Yeah. And so I always want to do that. And I remember, did you ever have like those web shooters? Like the
string can, the one with the string can. Yeah.
So
I don't know why they stopped selling those. Those were so fun.
I'm sure. I bet they have some for Tom Holland's version.
they're all like just they're a little diss now. It's not
Oh,
stream.
that's lame.
Yeah.
But I went to my dad. I begged my dad to take me to Toys R Us back in the day, and he took me and my brother Cade. And Cade has brunette hair. This is important to the story. So we get there. We get them. We get to the checkout stand, and our checkout lady's like, "Oh, like, do you guys want to be Spider-Man?" And me and my brother were like, "Yeah, we do." And she points at me and she's like, "Well, you can't be Spider-Man because you have red hair, but you can be Spider-Man because you have brown hair." And like, even then I was like, why would you tell a child that? like that didn't mess me up in any certain way. But I remember having like thought like as a child, like, you shouldn't tell a child he can't be Spider-Man.
Dang, bro.
But so anyways, long story short, I would love to be I would love to play Spider-Man. That would be really cool. Or really like anyone in that universe. I think that's like my favorite like Marvel.
I would love to be Spider-Man, but like you said, I mean, ginger kids can't play Spider-Man and Mexican kids can't play Spider-Man.
Yeah. Hey,
not yet.
Yet.
You never know. But I feel like I could play like I think Spider-Man 2099. Do you know who that is?
Yes. Yeah.
I think his name's Mario or Miguel. I don't remember his real name, but like in the comics, it's either Mario or Miguel. I can't really.
Yeah, because that's like the blue suit, right? The kind of like blue red,
like from the futuristic one.
Yeah.
I feel like I could play him later on.
That would be really cool. I could see as that, man. But like as DC goes, I don't know. I think it would be. I don't know who they. I think it's been rumored they've cast a Robin in the new Robert Pattinson Batman, but that would be really cool. I'd love to do that. Just because.
How could you be like, soy Batman?
But I would love to play Alfred.
This is a butler.
At this age and at this look.
Oh, okay, gotcha. A young.
And just like everything else be normal, but I'm Alfred.
Just Alfred.
Yeah.
Mr. Bruce.
I love one of my favorite lines in Michael Caine is just like his voice is great. His Cockney accent. One of my favorite lines is when the elevator in Batman Begins, when the elevator shaft is like falling down from the explosion, and Christian Bale's like, "When will you ever give up on me? When will you ever give up on me, Alfred?" And instead of just being like normal and saying never, Michael Caine goes, "Never." I just love his line delivery so much. He's like, "Never, never." So Aaron and I do that all the time. Whenever I'm just like, when are we gonna do this? Or when are we gonna go here? She goes, "Never." I love that line so much. I don't know why, but
or you can say, "Ouchie mama."
Ooh, ouchie mama. Dude, I gotta have Levi back on. That was a really fun episode.
That was the most I heard Levi talk, and I've had conversations with Levi.
I was like pretty scared beforehand. I think that's like the first time I've ever been nervous to do a podcast. Just because like, he's so quiet and he's so
he can talk.
Yeah, he can talk when he's in a certain mood, but like he did a great job and it was fun to talk to him. And like,
what do you mean certain mood? He's always happy.
I mean when he's really happy.
Oh, okay.
Well, shoot, man. I kind of wanted this to be a shorter one than usual, but is there anything?
Oh, you want it short? The party never ends.
That's true. Well, what else you got going on? What do you do day to day, Manuel?
I literally just go to the gym. I've been taking acting classes. It's usually on the weekends, but on the meantime, I've been reading a lot, and I've just been trying
to the ones with pictures.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Dude, those Diary of a Wimpy Kid books.
No,
like legit.
Apparently, there's like 20 of them now. Like, there's so many. Like, I remember the last one I remember was like, I don't know, like a blue one, I think.
The last one I read, so the first one's just Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The second one is Roger Rules. The third, I know I read more than 3. I read at least like 4 or 5. Like I
read like 6 or 7 of them. Yeah,
and I saw all the movies in theaters. All 3 of those in theaters.
Dude, one of my favorite scenes from that movie is like whenever they're arguing in the school and they're like, "Don't call me, don't come to my house."
Yeah,
we're done.
Yeah, Rowley. Yeah.
That movie, but dude, they're grown. Like obviously, I forget people grow, but you watch that movie and you see how they look now, and you're like, oh crap. But
Yeah,
then
because they're probably older than us, right? A couple years
you
older.
for sure, or me for sure, because you're older than me. You're what, 25?
I'm 23, but
I'm 20.
I know I seem so mature.
Yeah, me too. I'm a young soul in an old man's body. I mean, I'm a young man in an old man.
You have Benjamin Button's disease.
R.I.P. Robin Williams. I miss him.
Wait, why did you say Robin Williams?
Did he play that one movie where he had that Button's disease? Oh no.
No, that was Brad Pitt.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit that part out just so it sounds so random.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace, Robin Williams.